Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever anniversary video. It's been exactly 1 year today since I uploaded the first part of my first Let's Play, and it's been quite a wild ride since then. I figured it would be nice to go over my first year on YouTube, just give some of my thoughts about things, go through some stats, talk about the games I've played and the games that are going to be coming up, and just generally chat about stuff. So let's start from the beginning. December 3rd, 2017, and Fetus Living Son was recording his very first episode of Life is Strange. I decided from the beginning I was going to do 2 videos a day every day, and that's something I have managed to do for the entire year without missing a single day, so I'm pretty proud of that. Starting my first recording, I was super nervous, you have no idea. I kept tripping over lines and just kept chatting about nothing, and it was awful. And so I ended up recording and deleting the first couple of minutes about 10 times before I was happy with it. But eventually I got things the way I wanted and uploaded the first part, and I was met with 0 views, of course. Which obviously I knew would happen because it takes time for anyone to find you when you have no views and no subs. But it still obviously felt a bit shit to see, and I was wondering how long would it take before anyone found my channel. It turned out it would be about a week before finally someone would somehow stumble onto my videos. I really don't know how, because whenever I search for anything on YouTube, people with 0 subs don't tend to come up near the top, and I don't know about you, but I never really scroll down very far anyway. I just tend to go with one of the first results, but find it they did, and it made my heart very happy. Then, a couple of weeks later, I had a few more subs, and someone left a comment saying they'd enjoyed the playthrough so far, and so they'd posted the first part on Reddit, on the Life is Strange subreddit, I think. And it proceeded to get a ton of views, or at least what is a ton of views for me is a tiny channel, and I jumped up in a couple of weeks to like 20 subs from pretty much nothing, which was just insane for me. That also meant that I started to get my first few comments at that time, and if any of you upload your own YouTube stuff, you'll know how awesome that feels to have people who are choosing to watch your content and then wanting to like discuss it and leave comments afterwards. So that felt awesome to experience that for the first time within about the first month, I think that was. After that, things were pretty slow and steady for a while, just maybe 2 or 3 subs a week, nothing too major. And then about 6 months ago, a little game called Dark Souls Remastered came along and pretty much blew up my channel, or at least this is all relative to like me, not relative to the big YouTubers who them blowing up is like millions of views, me blowing up is like, you know, 500 or something. But yeah, Dark Souls Remastered, I think the reason that it did so well, aside from the fact that it's just Dark Souls and people like Dark Souls, is that I could put in the title that it was a blind playthrough. Pretty much every other gaming YouTuber had played Dark Souls before, so for them they couldn't put blind in, and lots of people will specifically search for blind playthroughs because I think a lot of people agree, that it's more fun to watch someone playing something blind than it is to watch them when they already know everything and know the story, know what they're doing, etc. I think blind is generally the preferred way to watch someone. So that meant that because I was one of the very few that could put blind in the title, my videos started to rocket up the search results, and so after not that long, my channel was actually #1. If you search like Dark Souls Remastered Blind, or Let's Play Dark Souls Remastered Blind, or Dark Souls Remastered Blind Gameplay, or whatever combination of that kind of thing, whatever you type in around those words, I will always come up at the top. And I'm pretty sure that just drew a ton of people into the channel. And it's still there. If you type in those things now, it's still at the top. So yeah, that was pretty much the reason why those videos started to blow up. Most of my videos at the moment will get somewhere between 10 and 30 views, depending on what series it is. And part 1s always get more. Part 1s sometimes, fairly often, I think, hover around about 100 nowadays. But Dark Souls, at the time of recording, has got just under 5,000 views, which is like 5 times as high as my second highest, or something like that. It's insane the amount of clicks that has got. One thing I do wish I'd done is I wish I'd upgraded my thumbnails before I did Dark Souls. I knew from the start of the channel that I was going to be putting a sun in the top corner of everything, but to begin with I just sort of drew it in a shitty paint program because I have no artistic skills in any way, shape or form. So yeah, it was just done in a shitty paint program, just a little circle with lines coming out of it and a smiley face dotted on, and it looked pretty awful. And it finally got an awesome looking upgrade like just under 3 months ago now. But yeah, I wish it had happened before Dark Souls, because that's the one that everyone's seeing, and looking at it now, the thumbnails kind of made me cringe. So yeah, I wish that I'd made that change prior to only 3 months ago. I wish it had been halfway through the year or something, so that it would have got Dark Souls in there too. So let's talk about some pure stats now then. I don't know if anyone's particularly fussed about these, but I find analytics interesting, so I don't know if anyone else will, but I'll let you know what they are anyway. So as I said, it was really slow going for the first 6 months, but then recently things have really picked up. So at the time of recording, we just hit 410 subscribers last night and 80,000 total views, which is just crazy. Crazy numbers. For the increase in growth, 100, I hit 100 on July 31st. Then 200 on September 17th, 300 on October 31st, and then just recently 400 on November 29th, which means for the first time, 300 to 400, that was 100 subs in under a month. So, holy shit, that's crazy. That's the first time that's happened, and that's just mad. So what that really means is that a quarter of the total subs have been in the last month, and if you look at the analytics, it turns out that not only that, but also a quarter of the total views, likes, and comments have happened in the final month of the first year as well. So that just makes me really excited for the future. Speaking of comments, in the last month there's been over 300 of them, so thank you so much everyone for that, because knowing that people are taking the time out of their day to chat about my videos and stuff that happens, and I don't know, it really feels amazing to me, and it makes my day every time I see a comment basically, and just thank you for that. Something else I've learned from the analytics is that making playlists is incredibly helpful, and if you do YouTube then I strongly advise you to make playlists, because almost half of my total lifetime views have been from people clicking on a playlist. The next most popular way onto one of the vids is via the suggested videos on the right hand side, but that only makes up 10% of the total people watching things, so it's a massive drop. So really playlists are just the major factor, they're the way to go. Okay, so now let's talk about games. I'm not going to rate them because I think I'm going to do a top 10 sort of list at the end of the year, but let's have a look at what has actually happened on the channel in year one. We started off with Life is Strange, which I'm really happy was the first game that I recorded. It had a great story and it had lots going on, which made it pretty easy for me to commentate on. Thankfully, doing commentary did sort of come fairly naturally to me, but it's always helpful when there's like obvious things going on in the game that I can talk about. That's one of my issues with Red Dead Redemption 2 at the moment, is although it is an absolutely incredible game, there is a ton of downtime where you're just like on horse going from point to point, and you just got to think about things to fill the silence with. And that can be difficult sometimes, so that was something that was really helpful to me with Life is Strange being my first game. After Life is Strange, the list goes as follows. Definitely won't be able to get this out in one breath. Tacoma, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Night in the Woods, Call of Duty World War II, Virginia, What Remains of Edith Finch, Journey, Hellblade, Telltale's The Walking Dead Seasons 1, 2 and 3 back to back, Shadow of the Colossus remake, Nier Automata, or is it Nier Automata? I can never remember how that's supposed to be pronounced. The Council, A Way Out, Far Cry 5, God of War, Detroit Become Human, Dark Souls Remastered, Life is Strange Before the Storm, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, Red Dead Redemption 1, Doom 2016, Death's Gambit, The Walking Dead Final Season, Ori and the Blind Forest, the Destiny 2 Forsaken expansion, Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Life is Strange 2, Forza Horizon 4, and finally, currently I'm in the middle of both Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead Redemption 2, which probably both won't be finished until mid to late January at the earliest, because they're both so massive. I also did a one-off video for the betas of both Monster Hunter World and Sea of Thieves, but I didn't like either game much, so I never bought them, so I guess the betas were really useful for me, because it meant I didn't waste my money. Oh yeah. Now, I have cancelled 2 series that I've done, which I do feel really bad about, because I remember when I used to watch Let's Plays a lot, I'd hate it when people would cancel a series that I was enjoying. So the 2 that I've done, the first was The Council. I really enjoyed episode 1. Well, I say really enjoyed. I enjoyed it a decent amount, and I uploaded it all, but then episode 2, oh my god. Oh my god, I hated episode 2. I played about an hour of it, and it was just horrifically bad. Buggy, stilted dialogue, just... There was one Bible puzzle right near the start which just took forever, and I just had absolutely no fun. I couldn't think of anything interesting to say about it, so I just canned that, never uploaded episode 2. So that's just dead. Rest in peace, The Council. Thankfully, it wasn't very popular anyway, so I don't think I've let too many people down there. After that, the second cancelled series was my second playthrough of Detroit Become Human. I really loved the first playthrough, and Detroit, it's a fantastic game. It's probably going to be fairly high on my list of games of the year. And so I loved the first playthrough so much that I wanted to do a second and choose different outcomes and see like how the story branches, where things can go. But I didn't want that to be the only thing on the channel because I figured people have already seen the game. Most people probably don't want to see a second playthrough, so at the same time I started Dark Souls Remastered. Oh boy, was that a mistake. Turns out I just couldn't keep up with doing two things at once. A few months later, about 3/4 of the way through this year, I have eventually changed my schedule so that now I do run 2 games at once all the time, with 1 episode of each one going up every day. But back then I just could not manage it, and so I unfortunately had to axe the second playthrough of Detroit Become Human. Aside from those two, however, everything that I've started has been completed, and as I mentioned at the start, I've never missed a single upload. I've always done 2 a day, and that's something I'm really proud of, despite the fact that I did have to cancel those 2 things. But I think, overall, it's fine. One was just really bad, and the other was something that I did already upload, sort of, so I don't think it's too bad. So, that makes a grand total of 34 games I've played this year, and a total of 823 videos uploaded. And you'll notice that 823 is more than double the amount of days in the year, and that's because sometimes I've been putting out 3 parts a day instead of 2, and that's only when new games come out sort of like at the same time as other things, or I'm already in the middle of a series and something comes out. And normally it would not be possible, like just as a general rule I would not be able to do 3 videos a day, but if I know something's coming out during another series ahead of time, then I can pre-record a bunch of what I'm doing at the moment to give me time to record the new thing when that comes out. So it is incredibly hectic. I prefer to not do that where possible, but that's why the number is more than just double the days of the year. So what about future plans then? Well, I'll be continuing Assassin's Creed and Red Dead for a good while yet, so there probably won't be any major new series until sometime early-ish next year. That being said though, there is a Forza Horizon 4 expansion coming out in about 10 days from now I think, which I might try out, but I'm not certain on that yet. I'm gonna see how things are going. I do want to do it, but I might wait until the other expansion, because I think they've got 2 planned. I might wait until the other one's out as well, and then combine them. We'll see how that goes. One thing I do know for certain is that as soon as one of the current main series ends, I'll be starting the Metro series. Hopefully I can upload both Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light in time for the release of the new one, Metro Exodus. That comes out on February 22nd, so I really am not sure if I'm going to be able to get both of the previous ones done in time. If not, I guess I just won't be doing Exodus until later, which kind of sucks for me because obviously it's better for YouTube algorithms and everything to get the video out as soon as it releases, because that's when everyone's searching for it, but if it can't be helped, then it can't be helped, so we'll see what happens there. Aside from Metro, there's a ton of stuff coming out early next year, and I've really kind of got no idea yet which ones I'll actually cover. The first major release is Kingdom Hearts 3, which is on the 25th of January, and I briefly toyed with the idea earlier in the year of playing all the Kingdom Hearts games, but there's just so many that I sort of decided against it, because I'm pretty sure that it would take like quarter of a year or more even possibly to do all of them, and it's not like you only have to do 1 and 2. All of the spin-offs are like essential for the story as well apparently, so I decided against that in the end. I don't think that would be feasible for me to complete, and that means that I don't know the story, so I don't know if anyone would really want to see someone play the 3rd one, and it's like people have been waiting a long time for Kingdom Hearts 3, so I don't know if people would be interested in that without me knowing the story of the previous one, so I'm thinking I'll probably skip that, but yeah, watch this space. After that, there is the Resident Evil 2 remake, which obviously it's a horror game. Don't know if you have watched enough to know that I fucking hate horror, so I'm unlikely to play the Resident Evil 2 remake, but if there was significant interest, I guess I would, for the entertainment of you as I shit my pants, but don't hold your breath for that one. Then there's a new Trials game. I loved Trials Evolution and Trials Fusion, so I will probably be doing Trials Rising, I think it's called. Then Crackdown 3 comes out, which that's been delayed so much. I still think it's going to be a fat load of shit, but, you know, it could end up being good. We'll see what the reviews say for that one. Then BioWare's new game Anthem comes out on the same day as Metro Exodus. That's going to be a big one. I am really hyped for Anthem. Hopefully it'll be good. It's not BioWare's usual fare loot shooter. They're normally more story-focused people, as far as I'm aware. So we'll see how that goes. I like Destiny, obviously, and it seems like it's going to be something similar to that, so Hopefully that'll be good. I'll definitely be covering that though. Then obviously Metro's that same day. And then going into March, we're looking at Devil May Cry 5, The Division 2, and the new FromSoft IP called Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which I will be definitely covering. That's going to be a real ball breaker, I can already tell. So that's a ton of possibilities to think about, and that's just the new releases, and obviously there's a ton of older games I want to play at some point too, so we'll have to see what happens on that front. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you're specifically interested in seeing, and that might affect my judgment in some ways, who knows, but largely I will probably just be seeing what I feel like when a series ends, basically, aside from Metro, which is guaranteed to happen next. Okay, I think that about wraps it up then for the year 1 anniversary video. If you've listened to this whole thing, then I salute you and thank you very much for being a part of this little channel in its first year on this earth. For years, I'd watch people like SSOHPKC, Christopher Odd and Matawellens doing their gameplay commentaries, and it feels really good to have finally achieved the goal I set years ago of doing this myself. So thank you for everyone who's watched and is making this sort of a reality for me, that I'm actually a YouTuber now. That's a cool thing to be able to say. I've done a full year on YouTube, so thank you so much to everyone out there listening, and I can't wait to see you again for year 2. See you then.